It's the last Saturday of the month of June. Good afternoon. Welcome to Weekend Central. This is the first bulletin for today. This bulletin is coming to you live from the news hub here at Adesawe Kanda. We're live on Facebook, it's TV3 Ghana, and on DSTV channel 279. My name is George Quinn.
And I am Judith Brown. Coming up this afternoon. Coming up this afternoon, influenza outbreak hits Enum SHS as 9 students test positive, prompting swift health response and containment measures. And Western Regional Anti-Galamsey Task Force destroys 75 Shamfans and arrests 4 in anti-Galamsey swoop. Also this afternoon, a former director of the Ghana School of Law, Kweku Ansasari, is urging judges to analyze the Procurement Act before they apply the law.
Just so you know, you can get interactive with us. We're live on Facebook, it's TV3 Ghana. Let's begin from health. And an outbreak of influenza H1N1 has been confirmed at Enum Senior High School in the Esujaman district of the Eastern Region, prompting swift public health interventions from the Ghana Health Service. According to a notification from the Eastern Regional Health Directorate, the outbreak was first detected on Wednesday, June 18, 2025, when the Esujaman District Health Directorate received reports of a surge in students exhibiting influenza-like symptoms. A rapid response team was immediately dispatched to the school the following day to investigate and manage the situation. 25 swab samples were taken from affected students and sent to the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research. Laboratory results received on Friday, June 27, confirmed 9 positive cases of influenza A H1N1 PDM09. In response, health authorities have implemented several measures to contain the outbreak. Additional steps taken include heightened surveillance, restriction of suspected cases from leaving school premises. Well, let's still stay longer on this and then engage Dr. Moses Jimate, who is a Deputy Director of Health at the Ghana Health Service. And sir, good afternoon. What is the current status of the influenza outbreak at Enum Senior High School? Can you confirm to us, please?
You got that's the right picture. And fortunately, we now have very to hospitals. All of them have been OPD cases, and then we've implemented the various interventions at the schools that will ensure that it doesn't spread outside the school, and then new people also don't get it. So far, the situation is under control.
And so how prepared are nearby schools and health facilities to respond if the virus spreads beyond Enum Senior High School?
Pardon me?
So how prepared are health authorities and even schools beyond Enum Senior High School if the spread, goes beyond the specific secondary school in question?
Yes. So we've disseminated information to GES so that in case they start having cases in any of the schools, they could quickly inform us. In outbreaks like this, the most important thing is to notice the outbreak as early as possible and to nip it in the bud. So as it is now that we know what is happening in this school, where we are controlling, if in case it gets to any of the schools or the community, our surveillance teams are on guard to pick them up and for the necessary interventions to be implemented to control the situation.
I know in handling this, it's more like a concerted approach. So what specific support is the Regional Health Directorate seeking from the national level?
What
specific support is the Health Directorate seeking from the national level? I know if this is supposed to be contained, it should be a concerted effort.
Yes, well, we have various degrees of interventions. We have the team at the district level, we have the team at the regional level, and then we have the national level. Based on the extent of the challenge we are dealing with, the district might be able to handle it, or the regional will join the team. As it is now, the district is working with the regional team, with advisory support from national, and that's what we are doing now. We've not gotten to a place where national will have to come to join the team. Everything is under control now.
Dr. Moses, are there any plans to temporarily close the school or suspend in-person tuition to contain the outbreak?
No.
Why so?
There are no plans to close the school.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time. Surely, if you need more clarity on this, we'll surely come back to you. Dr. Moses Kranjimate is with the Ghana Health Service, and 9 students have tested positive for H1N1 influenza, and we'll be showing up on this very development and finish with updates in our subsequent bulletins. Judith.
Absolutely. Now, 2 persons are believed to have died in the latest shooting incident in Nkwanta in the Oti region, with a handful of people left injured. Well, the shooting incidents were reported to have started on Wednesday night, heightening tension in the municipality. The Nkwanta municipality has been embroiled in a lingering tribal dispute for many years, leading to a significant number of deaths. Correspondent Faisal Abdul Idrisu joins us on phone with the latest on this. Faisal, good afternoon. Do we have an idea what might have sparked the latest shooting incident in Nkwanta? And tell us also if the identities of the victims are known.
Yes, so Judith, early this year in January, there was a similar clash, and like you rightly stated, there has been a protracted ethnic conflict in the area for some time now. So early this year, there was an earlier clash between the Achodi ethnic group and of the Chala group that led to the death of some persons. I cannot recall the exact number, but there were more than 3 persons that died in that clash. And so government had to review some security measures, including extending the curfew that had earlier been imposed on the Nkwanta township between 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. in the night. But 2 days ago, even under this curfew, which we are told that social events have been bad, we're told that the Achodi group proceeded with some riots that is in relation to the celebration of the Ayam festival on Wednesday. And right after that, some shooting incident occurred, leading to the death of 2 persons. One of such persons is a student of the Nkwanta Senior High School who was preparing for his mock exams, but was shot and he died on the spot. One other person also passed, and then we are told that 3 other persons sustained various degrees of injuries and are currently undergoing treatment. On Wednesday and Thursday, women who were at the main Nkwanta market had to leave the market because the shooting incident was happening right in the market, and so they were dispersed and had to flee for their lives. And so that is exactly what the situation is. The identities we are told so far is a student of the Nkwanta Senior High School, 1 other person, and 3 other persons severely injured.
And Faisal, before you go, can you paint a picture for us of how things are looking in the township currently, and how are the security agencies responding to this situation?
So the area that is experiencing this particular shootout currently, that is from the MTN office in the Nkwanta Township, the Central Market, and of course the Chobodo area. These areas are under heavy security presence currently, and so people living in these areas had to flee. The place is a quiet place right now. The other parts of Nkwanta are still lively. They are going about with their daily activities, but the other side where the incident happened on Wednesday and yesterday, from my checks so far, have been placed under heavy security. And of course, almost the entire space in Nkwanta now is flooded with security presence. The curfew has also been reviewed again. And so now it is 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. 6 p.m., every resident would have to go to bed.
Okay. So by 6 p.m., you cannot be outside in the community.
Yes, you cannot do that. Before, it was between 5 a.m. to 10 p.m., but because of the latest incident, it has been reviewed downward 6 p.m.
Right. Many thanks for your time, Faisal Abdul Idrisu, who has been bringing us all the details as regard to a shooting incident in that particular region in his area. We'll definitely follow up on this particular development story in our subsequent bulletins.
Well, in more news this afternoon, the Western Regional Anti-Galamsey Task Force has destroyed over 75 chamfans, arrested 4 suspects, and retrieved 2 excavators on the Ankobra River in support of government's Blue Water Initiative to protect water bodies. Meanwhile, the Western Regional Security Liaison Officer, Brigadier General Musa Waja, retired, will commence weekly patrols on the river to sustain the momentum. Irama Smith has more.
The Ankobra River, once a pristine water source serving communities from Pristia to the Nzima East Municipality of the Western Region, has sadly become a shadow of itself due to the devastating impacts of illegal mining. In spite of efforts to crack down on illegal mining activities, the turbidity of the Ankobra River continues to rise. It is to help address this that the Western Regional Minister Joseph Nelson mandated a combined patrol of the Western Naval Command and the 2nd Infantry Battalion, led by Brigadier General Musa Waja retired. The 7-hour patrol on the Ankobra River revealed illegal miners operating platforms with chamfang machines, digging into the riverbed and washing materials directly into the water. Several diversions have resulted in the widening of its banks.
In all this operation, we've realized that the Ankobra River has been diverted. And this diversion that has been done, most of the illegal miners are operating in those areas. And most of the rivers have been flowing to that place. And at the same time, that is where they use the water to wash their illegal activities. So that is the main cause of why the Ankobra River has not changed much.
Brigadier General Musa Waja retired emphasized the need for weekly patrols on the river to sustain the momentum.
In all the operation, we've been able to destroy about 75 chamfangs. We seized 2 excavators and then had 4 suspects. And I want to say that it has been quite a success. And I want to recommend that the sailing of the Ankobra River should be done regularly, at least once a week, so that it serves as a deterrent to all these people who have diverted the course and mining in those areas. We are very much satisfied with what has happened, and we think that we've been able to find reasons to why the Ankobra River, the surface Ankobra River, have been changed. We will continue sailing upstream until we turn ourselves to downstream.
He's also calling for enhanced logistical support.
To some extent, the logistic problems have been addressed. If it hadn't, we wouldn't have had the opportunity of sailing on the Ankobra River. But we think that more has to be done. And we hope that very soon, the authorities will meet our expectation for us to try and solve the problem once and for all. But for now, we are very satisfied with what's happening at Grants to us in terms of logistics.
Irama Smith, TV3 News, Ankobra.
Now to Bekwai municipality in the Ashanti region, where illegal mining is a major issue. Well, the local assembly has been taking members through its effects on climate change and ways to mitigate it. Well, William Evansinkum will join us for more on this particular issue. William, it is a fact, at least from environmental experts, the adverse effect of deforestation on climate.
Well, absolutely. It's so devastating. I mean, arable lands have been destroyed as far as Galamsey issue is concerned, and they continue to destroy it. And I can tell you for a fact, lots of lands are being targeted at a very, very fast rate, and it is quite worrying. What is even worrying is the fact that it is also affecting climate, because we're talking about the felling of trees.
Bekwai is one of the most notorious areas when it comes to the felling of trees for illegal mining. How serious is the situation, and what has the authority been saying?
Well, it's very, very serious, but now it's more or less sensitization drive is what we are saying at the moment. So as we speak to you now, they are looking at letting the people also understand the impact it is also having on the climate. Now, climate change. If we're seeing some level of sunshine, one will describe it as very scorching. If it is the rainfall, then we are talking about raining cats and dogs, or if you like, a damper. And that's the situation that we are witnessing here in the Ashanti region. And it is on this background that the Kwara Municipal Assembly is also engaging some climate experts to also sensitize the staff, security, and the stakeholders to really understand the impact this environmental degradation is also having, on our climate. And the municipal coordinating director has been speaking to us.
Climate change today, and then as we are all aware, our systems are changing, our climate is changing in terms of rainfall patterns, in terms of the dry season, in terms of our environment. Things are changing, and therefore as human beings we also need to adapt, we also need to be proactive, such that we need to put in enough measures to ensure that whenever our systems change, whenever our climate change, we'll be able to move along with it. And then we are talking about what brings about the climate change. There are some of the contributing factors that are coming from us as human beings. We're looking at our environment, how we pollute the environment. You go to the shops, you go to the markets, even as individuals, we throw waste and rubbish anyhow. These are all contributing factors to the climate change. And so what we are saying is, we need to put in enough measures as market women, as traders, as individuals. We need to keep our environment clean. There are some of the factors we also don't have control over them, like the rainfall patterns and then the dry seasons. But what we need to do is to put in enough measures. Sometimes we put in irrigation farms, we put in enough measures so that when these systems happen, we'll be able to move along with them.
Well, William, you're still with us. Tell us about the digital climate portal. Explain to us what really it does.
So now we understand that it is a geospatial platform designed to support climate data analysis and inform decision making at the local level. And that is what we understand as far as this particular platform is concerned.
Right, many thanks for your time. William Evans Inkom is our Ashanti regional correspondent. He has been bringing us more details on that particular subject. But of course, George is standing by for more stories.
And now, a former director of the Ghana School of Law, Kweku Ansah is urging judges to analyze the Procurement Act before they apply the law. He argues that some of the things captured in the Procurement Act may not be offensive. He was speaking on the key point in relation to the arrest of the former officials of the Ghana Revenue Authority on the Strategic Mobilization Limited deal, SML.
The court begins with a mindset, and the moment that mindset is consummated, there's conviction. I think the approach is wrong. That we must, our court, our judges must do a bit of analysis before implementing provisions of the Procurement Act, because some of the things may not be offenses, but because they arise from the Procurement Act, it is assumed that an offense
has been committed.
Still on key points, privately, a practitioner, Martin Pebu, is calling on the Office of the Special Prosecutor to quickly prosecute the person arrested in the strategic mobilization deal. For him, it is not enough to arrest the people.
SML arrest good, but please, we all know, you can arrest somebody and keep him in custody for 100 years. If the case doesn't go to court and if he's not convicted, we haven't done anything against his record, apart from maybe having incarcerated him, kept him in custody for maybe a few days. So I won't celebrate too much the arrest, because the arrest in itself is not a criminal conviction. So I'd rather continue to urge OSP to double up, and then let's enter court.
Well, if you're just tuned in, you're watching Weekend Central here on TV3 with me, George Quainin, and Judith Brown. Still on key points, a constitutional lawyer, John Kwame Quayson, is urging a review of Public Procurement Act. Speaking earlier on the Key Points show, lawyer Quayson argues that aspects of the act, especially the one that allows for sole sourcing, have been exploited by politicians, creating problems for the nation. Take a listen.
Now, I will also call for a review of the PPA Act. I think it's high time we did something about it. Before, we're all relying on Parliament, that some of the contract, some of the key arrangement from government will have to pass through Parliament. Then came the PPA also. But I think the major loophole that politicians often exploit is the aspect that the same act that we say go through ABC will then come back and say you can ignore all the ABC and still go for sole source.
And now the National Labour Commission, NLC, has ruled that the ongoing strike by the workers of the National Identification Authority, NIA, is procedurally flawed. Well, the NCL noted that a division or divisional or local union does not have the legal mandate to declare a strike. This position was made clear during a hearing on Thursday, June 26, 2025, involving the Divisional Union of the NIA under the Public Services Workers Union, PSWU. Or the NLC confirmed it had received formal notification of the strike but questioned its legitimacy. The National Union admitted that the strike was declared by the Divisional Union and upon being told it was improper, offered an apology for the breach of procedure. Well, while the union claimed it had initiated steps to call off the strike, the Commission dismissed the claim, insisting that any action to end or initiate industrial action must follow proper legal and procedural channels.
And now the Ghana Meteorological Agency, GMA, is urging fishermen to take extra precautions following a sudden change in weather conditions at sea. According to the agency, it is crucial for fishermen to pay close attention to weather forecasts and take necessary actions to safeguard their lives. Stanley Niblawo visited Jamestown and has filed this report.
The alert issued by the Ghana Meteorological Agency is based on changing weather patterns that are expected to make sea conditions increasingly turbulent between June 27 and July 1. During this period, wave heights are expected to exceed 2.5 meters, a level officially categorized as dangerous. The Ghana Meteorological Agency has divided the situation into 3 wave level categories, indicating that zones with wave heights between 0 and 1.5 meters are considered calm. 1.5 to 2.5 meters are classified as rough, and waves above 2.5 meters are deemed dangerous for sea activities. The group most vulnerable to these changing conditions are artisanal fishermen, whose small boats and limited equipment make them less resilient in rough waters. According to head of the Marine Weather Forecasting and Numerical Weather Prediction Unit at the Ghana Meteorological Agency, Adum Dechi, only skilled and experienced fishermen should consider venturing out during this time.
The dangerous state was from mid-morning, that is early morning, that is 12 o'clock, up to midday today, 12 o'clock. That was where we were expecting to get the dangerous state. Now it has declined into the region of roughness or to rough. For the rough, many of them can still go for fishing, depending on their experience. But from 2.5 upwards, that's the dangerous zone, they don't go at all. So we always advise that they should be listening or they should be checking the forecast before they leave for fishing.
At Jamestown, a key fishing community in Accra, some artisanal fishermen acknowledge the warning but express doubt about their ability to comply, citing economic pressures. One fisherman, Eko, shared his perspective.
We have no choice in the matter. Fishing is our livelihood. Even when the sea becomes rough, we still go out because if we don't, we can't provide for our families. If the government wants us to stop fishing during the season, then it must be prepared to support us throughout that period.
Others said they rely on traditional science and ancestral knowledge to determine safe fishing conditions before setting out.
When the sea turns rough, it's often visible from the shore, usually indicating an approaching storm. If we are already at sea when the storm hits, we drop an anchor and take shelter until the weather calms down before continuing our expedition.
While the warnings from the meteorological experts are clear, adherents may be hindered by the harsh economic realities faced by artisanal fishing communities. Nonetheless, the Ghana Meteorological Agency is urging all coastal fishers to prioritize safety over survival, stressing that no catch is worth a loss of life. Authorities heed the warning and protect lives at sea. Stanley Niblem, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, in relation to this, the close season for this year is scheduled for July 1 to July 31. That's for inshore fleet, and July 1 to August 31 for industrial trawlers. We're going for a quick commercial break. We're back with more news. Stay with us.
You're still watching Weekend Central right here on TV3 with me, Judith Brown, and George Quinning. In other news, a former director of the Ghana Law School, Mr. Ansah Asare, has asked the embattled Chief Justice, Gertrude Torkornoo, to apologize to the nation for disrespecting the President John Dramani Mahama. Well, according to Mr. Asare, as far as the implementation of Article 146 is concerned, the President's hands are tied.
About this whole press conference, I think that it was unexpected and in clear violation of Article 146.
How did they violate Article 146 exactly?
Unexpected. A Chief Justice or a Justice of the Superior Court or a chairperson of the Regional Tribunal must not do that. That is what, the Constitution says should not be done. The Constitution says that the entire proceedings must be held in camera. So once you are a participant, you cannot, as it were, do, what the Constitution says you should not do. So it was unexpected. She did it. She has alleged 6 violations, but that's the very first fundamental violation, coming, as it were, from the chief judge, who is in charge of the entire civil justice system, the entire criminal justice system. So it was unbecoming. It was also disrespectful.
Disrespectful to who?
Very disrespectful because, she being the Chief Justice knows that when you go to court, all answers and questions, are to the judge, to the court. So if a litigant is being uncivilly, the litigant or the party or witness is reminded that you are before the court and your answers are to the court, your questions are to the court. So be civil, be decent, show some, decorum. And she being, the number one, person to uphold and defend that process, and then sacrificing it, to the altar of frustration, I think, was another faux pas. I mean, she shouldn't have done that. The president set up the committee. Any attack, any onslaught is directed, at the president. So she ought to know that what she was doing was disrespectful to the first gentleman.
Disrespectful to the president?
To the president, yeah, the first gentleman. And that's, why I say that she should eat a humble pie and apologize to the whole nation. That this is something, upon sober reflection, she shouldn't have done, but she was driven, as a result of the, frustrations, within her, and she felt, she should voice them out. But next time, she may not do that. We all err sometimes.
Still on the suspended CJ's public address, CEO of the National Petroleum Authority and lawyer Godwin Edudzi Tamaklo has said that the press conference that the suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo held and put out details of the petition for her removal to the public was illegal. Edudzi questioned the basis for the suspended Chief Justice in putting out the details. Take a listen.
His Lordship Justice Ajabin, Justice Pegan and Co. said, look, the Association of Lawyers should know better. And then underscored the constitutional reason for the secrecy of the proceedings. And said that the reason for the secrecy is actually to protect the judiciary itself. Imagine a judge goes through the removal process, televised on the tele. Under cross-examination, lawyers can ask all kinds of questions, related, unrelated, even relevant, irrelevant. Say for the judge to say, no, this question, by which time you had asked already. We all do that under cross-examination. We deliberately will ask a question, knowing that this question is not permissible, but to color the mind of the court. Then the judge will say no, or counsel would have to object. Then the judge will say, question overruled. Ask another question. We do that all the time. So in the wisdom of the framers of the Constitution, they wanted a process that would also ensure that you protect the persons involved. Because it may well be that after the proceeding, the person will not actually be guilty of what you are saying.
But everything would have been out there.
Everything would have been out there. So I found it extremely, in fact, I want to be charitable by saying that it's untenable. Professor Kweku says I shouldn't say it's untenable. And that is plain illegality.
Why
what
do
the
you
Chief
say?
Justice did.
Why is it plain illegality?
Because you see, cleverly, she puts the content of the petition in public and try to excite a public conversation on the merits, which invariably would defeat the constitutional reason for the in-camera hearing.
In a society where starting a family was once considered a natural step into adulthood, more and more men today appear to be pressing pause on fatherhood. Whether shaped by personal ambition, economic realities, or shifting cultural norms, the path to becoming a father is evolving. In this special report, Safwa Boahene takes a closer look at why fatherhood is being delayed and what this change means for individuals, families, and the future of parenting in Ghana.
The journey to fatherhood is no longer a race against time, or so it seems. Today's man is more likely to pursue financial stability, career success, or personal freedom before choosing to start a family. Fatherhood, once seen as a milestone of early adulthood, is looking different these days. In urban areas, it's not unusual to find men in their 30s or even 40s who are still not fathers. For some, it's a matter of choice. For others, a lot of factors come to play.
It stems from the economic circumstances of the current situation that we have in the country, where there's a lot of youth unemployment. Being a father comes with a lot of responsibilities. So if you are going to become a father, you need to have the resources.
Some are scared of fatherhood because, one, they are not up to that standard. They think they are not yet ready. So anytime there is a pregnancy case or whatever, they try to skip away.
Fatherhood, is full of responsibilities. If you want to be a father, you need to be ready for responsibilities. That's how I see it. People who would like to have fun with ladies, but they don't want to be a father, it means they don't know what they're all about.
It's a topic that sits between culture, economy, and personal readiness. The 2022 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey reveals that the median age at first marriage for men is 27.7 years compared to 21.8 years for women. In urban areas, the trend is even more pronounced, with women giving birth for the first time at 23.4 years on average, 2.6 years later than their rural counterparts. So what does this mean for fatherhood?
Age of first marriage for women is 21 years, while that for men is 27 years. So men marry at a later age than women. So that gives us an idea of late fatherhood. If you look at Ghanaian culture, women nowadays also contribute to the maintenance of their families or their household. But the cultural expectation is that it is the male or the husband, the father, who bears the bulk of this responsibility. So what that means is that before a man decides to become a father, he must make sure that he can financially provide for his children.
But while the social clock may be changing, is the biological one staying the same? That's a question health professionals are beginning to speak up about.
There are certain factors that influence men's production. From the age of 35 to 40, scientifically proven that the production of semen or the quality of it starts reducing. 30% of the population of men or fertility cases that have been reported so far, we have about 25% that is undefined. We don't know the cause.
Experts also point to lifestyle as the silent factor.
Our lifestyles. For instance, the food we eat now is sprayed with chemicals, the environment, the stress level, the lifestyle like smoking, drinking, and all that. Science has proven that a number of it affects the production of the sperm. when you talk about the morphology, the shape of a sperm that can help to produce kids is being affected due to this. Even the movement a sperm is supposed to swim, it affects the quality of the sperm, the number, and then the quantity of sperm.
So, is delayed fatherhood a cause for concern or just another version of progress? Opinions differ, but one thing is certain: fatherhood today is no longer just about age. It's about intention, readiness, and the world men find themselves in. Safwa Boyne, TV3 News, Accra.
Well, let's know what you make of the causes of delayed parenting in Ghana. We are active on Facebook as TV3 Ghana. Get interactive with us with your comment and opinions. And now, another dilapidated building has collapsed in Cape Coast, bringing the number of such incidents to 6 in less than a week. Fortunately, no injuries or fatalities were recorded in this latest collapse. Our Central Regional correspondent, Thomas Khan, has filed this report.
2 buildings, a residential facility located at Brofio-Dru in the central part of Cape Coast, and a storey building under construction at West End near the Central Regional House of Chiefs, collapsed during last night's torrential rains. Several parts of the ancient capital were inundated by floodwaters, which have been reported as the cause of the collapses. A resident of the building that collapsed at Brofio-Dru told the news team that no casualties were recorded, as all occupants had sought shelter elsewhere at the time of the collapse.
We were outside when it happened, hence we were fortunate, but we've been rendered homeless and we've lost almost all of our belongings, so we need help.
During a tour of some of the affected areas, the Central Regional Minister, Idioma Ekopini Ocher, was met with a protest by a resident of Anthem, one of the suburbs that experienced severe flooding after the downpour. The residents accused a private developer of erecting a building that contributed to the flooding. The regional minister assured that the various MMDAs in the region have been instructed to take action against individuals who build in watercourses and other unauthorized locations. In a related development, the Omanhin of Ugwa, Osabari Makwesiata II, has urged authorities to take a holistic approach in addressing flooding.
The right place, get your permit.
Get the right permits for building. If you don't do the right thing, you will face the consequences.
Cape Coast Metropolitan Chief Executive George Justice Arthur reiterated the Assembly's commitment to demolish dilapidated buildings in the city to prevent further disasters.
We are still collaborating with NADMO and Assembly Engineer as well as relevant people or agencies to finalize it for us. But so far, we have done about 9 to 10 demolition. So we are on it. We are trying to find out the rest and demolish the rest.
In other news, a stretch of the Sunyani-Atronia Road has become a hotspot for armed robbers, turning it into a deadly route for motorists. In a just recent attack, a Sprinter bus driver was shot and killed by armed robbers along the Atronia Road. Drivers are now raising alarm over the worsening security situation on this stretch and other major roads in the region. A report by Claude Kumi Ebisa.
Atronia Road, once a busy transit route, has now become a nightmare for drivers following years of neglect and poor security. Armed robbers are taking advantage of the abandoned state of the road, attacking motorists with impunity. The latest victim, a Sprinter driver who was shot by robbers on Friday evening, sparking fear among commercial drivers and residents of Atronia who ply the route.
Anytime that you want to go to, you can't. Yeah, so the road is not good, and we are seeking for help from the government, that if only they can do something to help us. Because you cannot even get car around 2:30. You cannot, because of the armed robbers, because of what is going on this way.
We are just appealing to them. At least they should come and patch the road for us, or else the other places that are very deteriorated, they should come and just remove the bitumen for us, so that we see that we are using a feeder road. Because now we can't say that this is a tiled road or it's a feeder road. So we are just pleading to them that they should come and do something about this for us.
The situation is not limited to the Sunyani-Atroni stretch. Drivers also report increasing robberies on the Sunyani-Wenchi and Sunyani-Brekum roads. However, in a bold and proactive move to ensure the safety of residents and travelers, Chairman of the Bono Regional Security Council, RECSEC, and Regional Minister Joseph Adai Akwabwa has intensified security efforts along the Sunyani-Atroni and Sunyani-Brekum roads, two of the region's busiest and most vital transport routes. In a visit to the community by the Regional Security Council during road checks, the Bono Regional Minister allayed the fears of the people with assurance of enhanced security. We came to inspect where the recent robbery happened and assess the road for advice and the needed action to be taken to bring a stop to robbery activities on the route. I assure you that there will be no robbery on this road again as I live here. Moreover, in a move aimed at bolstering night security on the Sunyani-Atroni road, the regional minister conducted a surprise night check to ascertain the effectiveness of the police operations in the area. The initiative comes in response to increased public outcry regarding the safety on the road after a series of reported incidents that have raised alarm among commuters and residents alike.
I'm so much impressed. The measures that has been put in place is working. This is like an audit. I came here to see whether what we have put in place is working. And I can assure anybody trying this road that the road is safe. The road is safe, and you can ride this road at any time, at any point in time that you want to use the road. I'm assuring people of Bono that there will not be any robbery so far as I remain in office as the regional minister on the Atroni road again.
The Bono regional minister has taken a step to ensure that all the necessary steps regarding security are put in place. According to my time, it's past 11 p.m. and he is on the road checking that all the measures are being adhered to. He has therefore declared this road an armed robber-free road. Claude Kumi Ebisa, TV3 News, Sunyani.
And now let's move to the Ahanta West municipality in the Western region, where residents of Funko are living in constant fear during rainy season. With every downpour, the community's fragile and outdated power infrastructure transforms into a ticking time bomb, posing life threat to residents. A report by Stephen Kujo.
For residents of Funko, rain doesn't just mean water, it means danger. Every storm brings with it the risk of electrocution, as faulty power lines and decaying wooden poles turn their community into a death trap. Residents say electric wires often fall during storms, sparking on bare ground and in some cases even catching fire. The wooden poles installed a decade ago struggle to hold up power lines that often snap during storms. Already, 2 lives have been lost under shocking circumstances, with others narrowly escaping similar fate.
Just during this rainy season, 2 people have lost their lives because of falling electric cables, a man and an elderly woman who tragically stepped on live wires. This is a very serious issue in our community, and we urgently need help to face it before more lives are lost.
Businesses are reeling from the ongoing weather-related power outages, with many losing perishable goods after being without electricity for days.
We do have electricity in this community, but the power lines are very weak. Anytime there is even a light storm, the lines snap, leading to frequent outages. Just last year, I had to throw away some of the food items I sell because they got spoiled during one of those outages. Most of the poles are rotten, and we are paying for them to be replaced to prevent further loss.
Residents say they feel neglected, having complained about the situation for years. yet without any action. However, the Electricity Company of Ghana in the Ahanta West says it is aware of their plight. According to the area manager, Engineer Gordon Yao Yabema, plans are underway to resolve their plight.
Because of the sea breeze effect on our network, our hedges from time to time get corroded. But as and when we identify some of these corrosions, we resolve them by replacing the corroded hedges with new ones. The maintenance project. This period will afford us the opportunity to work on pressing network challenges in form of maintenance works, line maintenance, vegetation control, and all that. We expect that within this 100 days, we'll get these things done.
For residents of Funko, these decaying poles are not just infrastructure, they are death traps waiting to fall. Until they are replaced, fear will continue to hang in the air, just like the live wires above their head. Stephen Kujo for TV3 News, Funko, Ahanta West.
Now, for over 5 decades, the Management Development and Productivity Institute has operated without a legal framework, a gap that's limited its ability to fully deliver training programs, especially to district and municipal assemblies. Minister of Labour, Jobs and Employment, Dr. Rashid Pelpo, has tasked the newly appointed board to make finalizing the institute's legal framework a top priority and to do it without delay.
Management Development and Productivity Institute, MDPI, has been in operation for over 5 decades. Under the Ministry of Labour, Jobs and Employment, its core mandate is to help the government craft productivity policies and train public sector workers to deliver on national development goals. But despite its vital role, the Institute has faced persistent challenges. The absence of a proper legal and regulatory framework to guide its operations has been its major setback. At the swearing-in of a new governing board, Labour Minister Dr. Rashid Pelpo issued a firm directive.
I charge you to consider as a matter of urgency the development and passage of a new bill into law to transform the Institute into a world-class one that delivers results-oriented productivity programs and services for public and private organizations to enable them to contribute to the growth of the economy on a sustainable basis.
He added that with these reforms, the Institute could expand its training to district and municipal assemblies nationwide.
I envision an MDPI that provides capacity and development programs for all the 3 arms of government, private sector, civil society organizations, and development and emerging issues.
With legal backing finally on the horizon, the MDPI could soon play a bigger role in driving public sector efficiency and productivity across the country. Now, many young children dream of reaching the highest level in professional football, whether they are from big cities or unknown communities. Malise Mensa, who hails from Abume, a fishing village, is aiming to break the norm in his area. Bilashan tells the story.
This is Abume, a quiet village tucked away in Ghana's eastern region. At the break of dawn, many of its inhabitants head to the riverbank to fish. The community is especially known for its abundance of wevi, popularly called 1,000. In this riverside routine, children often follow in the footsteps of their parents, casting nets before heading to school. But 15-year-old Malise Mensa is charting a different course. His football journey began by chance, a casual invitation from a friend to play at a dusty community pitch a few years ago. It was there that something sparked. The game lit a fire in Malise, and it hasn't gone out since. From that day, the midfielder became a regular on the pitch, always seen with the football at his feet. His talent quickly became undeniable. Peers and older players alike took notice and encouraged him to keep going.
It's a game of life. I can't live without football. I always look up to Thiago Alcantara. He was a former Liverpool player. He plays midfield and then I'm also a midfielder. I want to play like him.
At home, his mother, Augustina Dablu, works hard to support her 3 children through a small fish trading business. She often encourages her older children to assist with fishing. But when it comes to Malice, she makes an exception. She sees something different in her last-born child, something she's willing to nurture, even if it means making sacrifices.
His attitude towards football is interesting. We're a community that engage in fishing here, but we don't allow him to fish because he loves football and it makes him happy. So we have allowed him to pursue that. We used to help him with anything we have that can push him forward before he got a manager that has taken him and is helping him. What we can do to help right now is to thank him for helping us.
In 2022, Malice's efforts bore fruit when he was scouted and admitted into the Dream Chasers Football Academy. Since then, he has grown into a pivotal player, controlling play from midfield and showing remarkable maturity beyond his years. His breakthrough came in 2024 when he caught the attention of the Black Starlets technical team, led at the time by Lai Kingston.
It was 3 regions, the Eastern region, Volta region and Greater Accra. So we went to Koforidua All Nation. And I must say, after the selection, it was 2 days program. Out of almost 500 players that came there were only 6 players who were picked, and he was number 1. And he was discovered by coach Nanajima, current Vision FC head coach. But then he was assistant coach to Lai Kingston. And he's that kind of a person who always wants to do, he's trying to do something. He always wants to do that. He's not lazy, he trains all that. We are on break. But every morning I see him going jogging and other stuff.
Though he narrowly missed out on the final squad of the Wafu Zone B tournament that year, Malice left a lasting impression. Coaches and scouts see in him a player who has the potential to reach the highest levels of the game. Back in Abomey, locals speak his name with pride. To them, Malice represents proof that even from a small fishing village, big dreams can be born.
He's very good. You have all the qualities that other players in abroad have. So we hope that when he also get there.
According to the way he normally play football, in fact, the guy have talent that we are all praising him to move further and further about the football.
Oh, I'm so much proud. I'm happy when I heard about Malice because coming from a fishing community with such a star, I'm excited having Malice from my community.
In a place where nets are usually cast for fish, Malice Mensah is casting his own for a unique opportunity. With every touch of the ball, he steps further away from the riverbanks of Abomey and closer to stadium lights. His story is still being written, but one thing is certain: this young boy from a fishing village is chasing more than a dream. He's chasing destiny.
If I hadn't, pursued my journalism, passion, I would have been on the page today.
On which page?
Yeah.
that is how we are ending the Bulletin Radio on TV3. My name is Judith Brown. I've been doing this with...
My name is George Quinn. If you want news updates, just log on to our website. It's 3news.com. Thanks for watching. It's always a pleasure coming your way. Good afternoon.